Hi guys, I'm Jeremiah Carcellar, and you're watching Spotlight on DDG every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Okay, so I guess a little bit about myself. I guess in the world of dance, I've been dancing for 10 plus years. I started in high school. Back then, we didn't really have like dance teams or studios, so I learned most of what I could learn on YouTube. Gliding videos, isolation videos, breakdance videos, bboy.org was a good staple. And I was just practicing in my garage. I think I formed like a small dance team at school at the time, but you have to imagine like choreography wasn't really a big thing back then, and it was mainly dancing in the garage or dancing with each other at jams. So that's how I sort of started. And then come college, I studied at UP Diliman, and I joined the UP Street Dance Club, and that was sort of my first foray into organized choreography. Up until then, I was just really accustomed to freestyling. So that's where I learned everything about blocking, about how to teach, how to direct, and stayed with UP Street Dance Club for a very long time. I'd say 10 plus years of my life. Eventually, I joined the crew. We did a couple competitions. Some of the notable ones were World Hip Hop. We competed in 2011, 2012. We were fortunate enough to win the 2012 World Hip Hop Championships for the adult division, so that was fun. And then after that, I did some stints with the industry, choreographed for a few shows, corporate clients, even handled a high school dance team at a time called Aglaya, School of the Holy Spirit Aglaya. And yeah, and I've just been dancing ever since then. Man, I like a lot of stuff outside of dance. I play chess, and actually, funny enough, I've recently gotten into board games. Like I started off with Avalon. If you've ever had a chance to play, I think you guys should play that game. Secret Hitler, Who. These are all pretty good games. Chinatown is a new one. And the funny thing is, people ask me if I was just getting into board games because I like board games, but really, I started getting into it because I was after sort of the bond that you get out of the experience. So it's a good opportunity to sort of just talk with people, enjoy the time, and sort of be in the moment. So that's one of the reasons I really got into it. I think that's one of the things that also drew me to, I guess, dance in general. I mean, before I started dancing with a group, I had been dancing by myself. And it's one thing when you're dancing by yourself. It's another thing when you get to experience that moment on stage or even in the studio with teammates and people that you really admire and respect and believe in the same things you do. So that was a really cool experience. Creative Athlete is one of my passion projects. It's initially wasn't supposed to start off as a brand. I was really just looking to make a backpack. That's what we started off with, was a backpack for myself, something that I felt I needed as a dancer. And eventually people started asking me about the bag. I started selling it to more people one by one. And eventually sort of built itself up into what it is today, which by any means is still not yet there in terms of where I want the brand to grow, but it's still, of course, a process, so I'm grateful for that. I mean, really the main goal with Creative Athlete was, allowed me to do something that I was super passionate about, which is dance. I still do it. I'm a dancer first, I'd say. Dancer first, maybe businessman second, which isn't always a good thing, but that's just me. And then second was build something that I felt could support dancers, whether that's in their craft, whether it's you give value in the goods that you're producing because it helps people feel good about the way about their lifestyle in dance. If it makes people feel good about their craft, it inspires them to do different things in dance or even outside of it. That's been the big goal. And so I'm just grateful anytime that we have people that support the brand, and really, really happy for where things are sort of headed, and there's still a lot of exciting more things to come. What is dance? Wow, it's a deep question. What is dance? I look at dance as probably as basic as it gets for me, as how I understood it coming up, which is it's just an outlet. I think a good example of how I saw that was when I started going into corporate, and before then I was a full-time dancer for about 4 to 5 years straight out of college, coaching, gigs, all of that. And I think a lot of times people think that once you start your career, that dance sort of takes a back seat, or that you're not able to dance anymore. but really I would say some of my peak performances came at a time when I was having a full-time job. And I think that's the case because, you know, when you have, let's say, a full-time job, it made it easier for me at the time to look at dances really as my outlet. You know, I didn't have to worry about where the next sort of gig was going to come from. I could do things creatively with my time, with my dance that didn't have to really be subject to meeting a certain deadline or requirement or need from a client, and it was just because I could just dance for fun. So I really look at dance that way. It'll always be an outlet since the beginning, and I think even up until I'll be older, it's just something I'm still going to keep doing. Whether I'm teaching classes or whether I'm doing projects, if I'm not doing that, and let's say I'm working full-time on business, I'll still be dancing. Memorable moment was during the 2012 finals, and I remember coming off of the stage outside of our finals performance after having finished, and all of us looking at each other like, yeah, that could have gone a little bit better. We felt like we didn't really have a good run, and you can sort of tell it from our teammates who are watching that they've seen better. So it didn't really meet our standard. And then we were all huddled in the back behind the stage. Suddenly one of the hosts comes up to us and he just says, you know what, guys, I just got to say, every time I see you guys perform, it's such an incredible feeling to see you guys dance with your heart, your passion, and it's really inspiring. And so as soon as he left, we were like, oh, okay na tayo, okay na tayo, okay na yan. Even if it's just one person. And I think that gets lost on a lot of, you know, through experience. I think a lot of times we look at dance performances and we think, you know, how many judges can we sort of, you know, get on our side? How many people can we get to cheer for us? And quite honestly, you know, if it's just one person, it's already a big difference. And that also doesn't just have to come from the crowd. If it comes from the team, and the team enjoys what they're doing, I think that's already a success there. I think a lot of times we forget that dance at the end of the day is subjective, right? You'll have the technical stuff that comes with judging, which is great. There might be a judge that maybe favors different styles apart from yours, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a preference. And, you know, you're not gonna be able to please everybody, but as long as you sort of like what you're doing, then yeah, you're winning already just doing that. So that's how I've always viewed it. Okay, so that's one memorable moment. So I had this team, it was Ego, and we did this piece called, it was a Pokemon piece. And I remember that fondly because I remember the first thing I told the team was, are you okay with not winning? And to them, I think the idea was like, wait, I don't understand, what does that mean? Why would we compete if we weren't gonna try and win anyway? And I just said, well, I just think that if you're here and you're thinking that we're going to try and make a piece that adheres to sort of a certain standard in criteria or judging, it's not my goal. My goal is just to make something that we're really excited about, that we find interesting. We'll hit the marks we need to, but there's going to be no formula for it, and we're just going to try and have fun with it. And as long as we enjoy the process, then the destination is just bonus. And I've always really truly believed that. So, and I remember that was a success because after the performance of the boys at the Ego 3 doing the Pokemon piece, and by the time I got to the back, everybody was huddled in a circle praying and just like crying, and I remember looking like, wait, are we gonna talk about this? And but they had such an amazing time. I think they knew right after the performance that they did really well, and they didn't have to ask us for affirmation. And that's one of the best feelings because they felt good about it. And so I remember when we got called up and we won, honestly, I asked the guys, I was like, how do you guys feel? I was like, Coach, it's okay. I mean, it's cool that we won, but honestly, it felt like we won on stage right after our performance. And that was a good, really, really good feeling. And I really believe in that. That process to me means a lot more than just destination. Because if you get to the destination and the way you got there sucks, well, then that's not very fun. And I think dance is, as much as possible, we always try to keep it fun. So that's the second one. And I would say another one, we did UAP, and it was a UAP performance. Like I think at the time UP Street was also doing HHI, so they would, and I was working with the same batch of dancers. So after training at HHI, which would be like 7 to let's say 10 or 11, I'd have them maybe from 11 to like 1 or 2, and we basically put together a routine in about 2 weeks, which I still haven't seen the video. If Zai is watching this, I think you know that you videoed that, and I'm still looking for that. But anyway, even if we were training until that amount of time, just the energy that was with the team. No one felt like they were dragging themselves to the practice. Like we really enjoyed it, and so I remember it so well because that year we actually didn't place first. I think we got second, but the aftermath of what happened in the locker room was just so surreal. I think everyone was really emotional, not because we lost, but because we felt like we put something together that we really were fond of. And I think it's one of the best feelings, more so than just winning a first, second, or third place trophy, but just that everybody was really in sync, that everybody enjoyed what we were doing. And so I'm just glad that I was a part of that process, and hopefully it, in one way or another, it maybe impacted how some people view dance and what it can do for you. I think there's this one time I was at a dance event, and like this guy was walking around with the shirt on, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so crazy that he's wearing it. And so like I was super nerdy. Like I would have my phone, and I'd like, you'd think I was a stalker because I'd sort of follow him, like, yo, this is so dope, like this guy's wearing my stuff, you know. So that was cool. I think I think when I started Creative Athlete, I didn't want, even though I had a background in dance, I sort of didn't want to put my name behind the brand right in the beginning, because I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to sort of stand on its own and that people could relate to. So I didn't want the fact that I had been a dancer, that I had done all this, to sort of be the light, like, hey guys, buy my stuff, support me. It was more like, let the brand sort of survive on its own and see if people appreciate it. So that's always cool. You know, I get people from far away who come to the events, and you know, they buy the stuff just to buy the stuff, and that's really awesome. It means a lot to everyone that supports. So thank you guys for doing that. Like, I think this is officially like the first interview that I'm doing where, you know, people might see the face sort of behind the brand. And to be honest, I was a little apprehensive about it because, again, of what I thought, I kind of wanted the brand to stand on its own. So I'm hoping that maybe by people seeing me behind the brand, they understand that this is what I like to do. It's my passion. I'm a dancer first, and it's only just my goal to really promote the craft, and that maybe they see the authenticity behind the brand, and that what we're really trying to do is bring light to a passion that a lot of people really have. Our mission, if you can watch if you can see it on the website, our mission at Creative Athlete is to inspire change through music and movement. So whether that's change in the way you think about craft, whether that's change in pursuing your career, whether that's change in so many other things, then I'll feel like it was a success. With goal for my dance career, I've gotten to a point where I feel like, I think for people who don't know, I mean, I did a corporate career for about 4 years after I did my full-time dance career. And it was because I did the corporate career because I also felt like, in terms of dance career, I thought that maybe I had achieved what I needed to achieve, whether it was on the world stage, whether it was through working with corporate clients and schools and all of that. So I think until now, there isn't really anything that I want to achieve in terms of a career, but there is things I want to achieve with dance, which is I still want to keep creating choreographies, sort of maybe that's on a more macro level. Maybe on a more micro level, it's more about like just putting out my stuff too, so for people to see. So maybe, following this, or maybe even right now, you might be seeing some of my stuff out there, just because when you're directing a team, you don't really have much of an opportunity, because I was director of the crew for about 4 years, and when you're directing, you don't always get the opportunity to sort of showcase, because I was so focused on sort of maximizing the strengths of each of my dancers. Other people do a really good job of balancing out. Maybe I wasn't as good at that, so I really focused on that. And so even when people ask me to teach class, like I'm like, I don't have anything to teach class. I just have like transitions and opening and endings, you know. So I think now it's more of just like continuing to do that, and that's a goal that I'll always have. It's not gonna go away, which is whether it's on stage or whether it's behind the scenes. I'm still dancing now. I didn't stop. I think when I retired makes me sound old, but when I retired from the crew as a director, I didn't stop. I kept training, kept dancing, kept creating. Definitely much better now than it was before. And I think there's a stigma that, you know, if you stop being with the team, your dance world is over. To be honest, it's really just beginning too. An upcoming event in mid-February is Body Rock. We'll be sponsoring that. Support the scene that's continuing to grow. And shout out to Axe for putting up an awesome event that gets a lot of people, not just from the Philippines, but from everywhere, to sort of appreciate the stuff that we do. So that's one. Other than that, don't really have any major events coming up. That's really the main one we're sort of preparing for. You might find us in like, you know, pop-up events, battles. Usually we announce that on Facebook or Instagram. Cool. Well, this has been a good talk. I guess it's done. If you guys have other questions, you can always message me at... Just kidding. I was about to put my phone number, but I was like, I thought about it. I was like, maybe not. Yeah, if you guys want to reach out, I have Instagram, Jeremiah Carcellar. It's probably there. And then I have Twitter. Don't use it as often, but it's my name is too long for the username, so it's just Maya Carcellar. That's M-I-A. Two things. I would say this is the one thing I really believe in, which is dance is fun, and I can't imagine not having fun when I do it. So hopefully, you know, it's something we all try to remember whenever we are performing or creating something new. That's the big one. The second one I learned a bit more recently, and it came in the form of an award. I was part of a team, and we had some students, and the one student was given an award, not for their dance skill, not for attendance or anything else like that, but the fact that they got along with everybody on the team. And I think, you know, it seems like a small thing, but it's really such a big thing when you really think about it. You know, skills can get you wherever you need to go, but I think attitude is really what's going to drive you even further. And it's always great to sort of, when you can work with somebody who's amiable, personable, I think it means a lot to the team. So I hope it's something that it's something I always try to remember whenever I'm working with people, that am I making it easier for them to work with me? And I think it's really going to be crucial for anybody who wants to sort of advance in their dance career and pursue other things. Peace out. Done. Is it?